This is Deborah Weaver, and we are going to work on some POM information for a cap short sleeve wide DT here. I went ahead and added a neck band here onto this sketch, as this is more what the neckline would look like on a real knit tee here. I kept the shirt tail. The first thing we're going to want is to place some reference lines. We just want to make sure that our reference lines are always going to be in a 1 point, as well as our POM lines. So our first line, we do want it to be this nice bright blue color, is our HPS reference line. Now on this kind of a garment with a neckband, your HPS is right here. It's here and here. So we just want to, we'll use the grid in the background to make sure that our information is straight. And there we have it. So we're going straight across the HPS there. We always want to have that be a dashed line, and then we need to add the information about what it is. So this is HPS. Do that to be this blue color. It didn't quite work, so let's just do it this way. Okay, and there we have our HPS information. So we're going to need that on the back as well, so we can go ahead and just copy that over there by hitting the Alt key shortcut and putting it right in the same position on the back. That's the HPS right there and there. Now by contrast, if you have neck binding on a knit garment, you would be using, the underlayer is locked here. You would be using if this was your neck binding, you would be using your HPS right here on the top corner, right at the top corner, right at the edge here. Because think about it, like on a neck binding, the binding is actually going over the top edge, the HPS edge of the body. In the case of neck band, which is being sewn in, there's a seam right here. So the true HPS is right here at the seam. Okay, so back to our reference information. We are going to have another line down here because when we do the front and the back HPS, it's going to be referencing the actual center front of the garment and not exactly the straight down measure. And this is where you would have to place extra rulers when you're doing the actual measuring of it. So let's go ahead and lock those references for now and then start the POMs. So once you have your specs page printed out in front of you, you can see here we have only 21 POMs. So we'll go ahead and start with the first one. We need that again to be a 1 point, and we want that line to be this bright red color right in here. The brightest red we can get. We'll start with our first one being the front HPS length. Now again, this needs to come down to this blue reference line down here, which is actually referring to the center front, because the center front HPS length is going directly from the HPS position down to the center front. So that's how number 1 would be. And then number 2 is going to be that same thing at the back. These are identical silhouettes, and I kept the shirt tail the same, so this line would match anyway. The next one we have is number 3. It's the side seam. I'm going to go ahead and grab onto that. Let's make sure the bottom layer is not locked again. Here's my sketch information. My reference is locked. That wasn't locked, so I would be able to grab on this here. I want to make it the same size, so the same shape rather, so it's clear that you do have to go along the curve here to get the actual measurement of the side seam. Let's go ahead and add some arrows onto it. And as long as the main arrow is not making anything unclear, you can keep it that size. So we have the side seam height, that's number 3. The next one we have is the across shoulder. The across shoulder goes from that shoulder seam there, this one over here. We're going to need the shoulder forward. So that is going to be in here. So I'm going to go ahead and reduce this arrow so that when I go to put the shoulder forward, it's going to be easier to see. I'm just going to do it so that it's consistent. That's one thing that you should consider in tech, is that everything really should be as consistent as possible. Okay, so we have a shoulder forward that I can put right here. This one I may just leave the arrows out of it because it is a very small reference line, and we could take it right in the middle. I'm going to add one of these arrows pointing to it at the 0.25 so that I can make sure my number is very clear and when I get to put the numbers there. Okay, so that's my shoulder forward. I have a neck width opening, which is going to be here. I'm going to move this one over so I have enough room to show my neck opening, which is from here to here. The neck opening is going from the neck band seam at the top of the shoulder, and it actually should be done at the back, so I'm going to go ahead and place that at the back sketch. The neck opening right here. And then the next thing that we have here is a neckband height finished. So we can put that at the front and the back. I'm going to go ahead and put it here at the front. I'm just trying to duplicate this one. And move that over. And it was grabbing the smaller line. Okay, so here is my neckband width. I'm not going to put any arrows on that either because it won't be easy to see, the line's too small. So we have the neckband height, and then the next thing we have is the front neck drop. Our front neck drop is going from the HPS point to the seam of the neckband. So that's down there, that's the front neck drop. The back one's going to be another small one, and we'll go ahead and place that one back here. I'll drop one size. Here's the back neck drop, again going from the HPS position reference line right down to the seam. And make sure that's on the line. When things are really close, it's not the easiest thing to get a line to be exactly where you want it. There are snapping tolerances that you can check to try to make it easier, but the closer you can get in to what you're doing, you can see it more clearly and move it around. Okay, so that's the back neck drop. The next one we have is the across front, which is number 10 here. So we have the across front, which in the case of a knit here, on a knit ladies garment, it would be 5.5 inches down from the HPS. I'm going to go ahead and put those into the normal arrow. We don't really need those to be small for any reason. Okay, the next one would be the waist width, and that's going to be 16 inches down from the HPS when you go to measure it. Let's make sure that that's very precise. That looks better. We can zoom in on these later. The next one we're going to have is a straight sweep. And sometimes you would have all the sweeps, the straight and the curve, depending on how you were getting your garments from the factory, how much you wanted to control it. In the case of this tech pack, I put a sweep straight, which I could move to the back, but since there's not a lot on the back, I'm going to go ahead and move it to the back, even though the measurement can be taken back or front in that reference. And then I'm also going to add another reference line, so I need to unlock my reference layer, because I'm going to be doing the shirttail height coming from the straight measure. So from the straight hem POM, the measurement to check the shirttail height goes from that reference line straight down to the hem edge. And it's written in the specs as front and back, so I'm just going to put it on the front because it would be applicable for both places. Okay, so there's our sweep and our front shirt tail. Then another reference one we have is going to be the hem height. This one is a pretty big hem down here at the bottom, so I'm going to put it back here and see if that small arrow is going to work on it. You want to make sure that when you're doing your hems that you don't do them at an angle. They must be straight because you can't take the measurement at an angle and get an accurate measure. It has to be straight. So there's our body hem height. And then the next thing we have is the armhole straight. Now typically on a knit tee you're just going to use an armhole straight. You wouldn't necessarily have to do the curve. That's all going to be dependent on the factories that you work with and whether they're A and B and they understand the balancing of an armhole. When they don't know how, you'll have to add front and back along the curve. But for now we're just going to do the straight, armhole straight. Then we have the sleeve length. We can go ahead and put that at the back since we have so many things at the front right now. So there's the sleeve length at the shoulder, and then the other one comes from, let's take the smaller one here, from down here, the inseam, which is literally taken from the underarm seam straight out to the hem edge. The sleeve opening, I'm going to put that one back at the front here. And we can zoom in again to make sure everything's precise. And then we have a sleeve hem height, so it looks like we can use the same one here. Put it up on the sleeve. And that would be taken on the inside actually from the raw edge down to the bottom fold. And then the last one I can see that we're going to need is the shoulder slope. Oops, did we copy it? put that back. Okay, so I'm sorry that my computer is stalling, but this does happen. Gotta do the move. And then let's go ahead and grab it again. And let's do the front, the shoulder slope right here. So there's our shoulder slope. Now we can go ahead and zoom in on a couple things just to make sure that our arrows are exactly where we need them to be. Those look okay there. Let's come over here and look at this waist one. And let's just come over just a nudge to make sure that we're going from the edge to the edge. And then here on this one we can see we're a little bit off on the actual seam there. One more nudge there, that looks better. We've got the front neck drop, we've got the shoulder slope, which needs to be a little more in. Let's make sure it's going to reach that blue HPS line, but not go over it because it shouldn't. Okay, so there we have the basics. Let's go ahead and start putting our numbers on the page. 1, 2, make them nice and bright red. So number 1 was the front HPS line. We want to be careful when we place these lines that we're not putting it somewhere like this, because this could be mistaken for the waist as well as the front HPS. Here's number 2 is the back. And then we can just keep duplicating on these lines here. I'm sorry, on rather these numbers. There's 3, and then 4 and 5. Get a couple of them going. So 3 is our side seam. Let's go ahead and move that over. There's our side. Put it somewhere where it's not going to be mistaken for anything else. 4 is the across shoulder. That's up here. It's a little bit messy up here, so I'm going to go ahead and put this one right here. And then 5 is the shoulder forward. So I can put that one out here. And I'm going to make that one a little bit smaller so that it's obvious it goes with the smaller reference line there. The neck opening is 6, and we put that at the back. And turn that into a 6. So there is our neck opening width is 6. And then we have our front and back drops. 7. 8, 9. So our front neckband height actually is number 7, so that goes to this one here. Our front neck drop is 8. Let's put that maybe down here. And our back neck drop is 9. Oops. So let's move that right below that one. And again, I'm going to make that one the smaller version so that it's a little more clear that it goes with that smaller reference line there. And then now we have 10. Oops. There's 10. 11, 12, 13, 14. Oops. Go back to 14. So 10 is the across front. That's right here. Let's make sure that that's obvious. We still need the across back that we didn't put on here, so this is 11. That is 11. Move the 11 over there. You can see it's not quite on the seams like we are on the front. So there's 11. And then we have 12 is the bust. Oh, I thought I had the bust there. I must have missed the bust. The bust is 1 inch below the armhole. So that is number 12, the bust. Number 13 is the waist. I'll put that right in the middle. Number 14 is the sweep. You put that back here. It's better if you can put it next to the line and not on the outer edges. Just makes it more clear. So that is 15, 16, 17. So 15 we have as our front shirt tail, front and back rather, both. And that is 15. We have our body hem height, which is 16. I'm going to make that one of the smaller numbers. And then we have the armhole straight, which is 17. We're starting to get a lot of information, so I'm going to start with some smaller numbers. So we've got 17, which is off the sleeve information, 18, so 18 is for the sleeve length, that's here. 19 is the sleeve inseam. The first one is at the top of the shoulder seam down, and then this is the other one, and then we have 20 is the sleeve opening. So that's 20 right here. And then we have 21 is the sleeve hem height, which is right here. And then last but not least, 22, which is our shoulder slope. Should be taken at the front, so I'm going to leave it at the front here, even though we have a lot going on here. Okay, so there you have it, the basic POMs for your cap sleeve V-neck tee.